Southwest.
Welcome to perhaps the funkiest place to be in a Northern Hemisphere spring, Austin, Texas. The city's home to the annual South by Southwest Festival, or festivals because there's a lot of great music here, indie films, and the bit that interests us, the interactive. It's where thousands of experts, geeks, entrepreneurs congregate to discuss the latest in the fast-moving world of digital technology. Twitter was launched here a couple of years ago. It's that kind of event. For this edition of Innovation at Work, we've come to Texas to look at something which is increasingly important for Alcatel-Lucent, application enablement. Okay, first things first, basic question. What do we exactly mean by application enablement?
Application enablement is a new way of building applications for end users and enterprises. It's really taking the best of the web and the innovation there with the best of what the network operators can do and optimize those worlds in such a way to really drive more value.
We all know about the huge growth in apps. More and more of these functions are being developed all the time, and the market's set to move into overdrive in the years ahead. So the people are there, the know-how's there. What's missing is the optimum system for getting apps to market.
Alcatel-Lucent's resident guru on applications is Laura Merling. Laura, there are thousands of applications developers out there trying to get their products online. There are millions of consumers out there, but there's something I think you're saying not quite right in the system. What are the bottlenecks?
There's two key bottlenecks. One of the first bottlenecks is there's a lot of great information and functionality that's built into the network. Things like they know your user profile, they know what device you're on, but they've taken that information and locked it behind a wall and not made it available to developers.
This is the service providers. They haven't given this key information to the developers. Right?
Exactly. And then in certain cases, a few of the service providers have made that information available to developers. However, they've charged for it. And when you think about the guy in the garage who's building the really cool creative app, they don't have a lot of money to spend and invest in paying upfront fees and things like that. So they've had challenges of addressing it from a monetary perspective.
So what broadly then is Alcatel-Lucent's vision for getting around this problem?
One of the things that our team likes to say is, there's two guys that would never talk to each other at the party. There's the service provider and the geek. How do we bring them together to talk to each other and come up with a really interesting revenue share model so that everybody in the ecosystem wins?
So you're getting the developers and the service providers to work together in a new kind of ecosystem.
Absolutely, and deliver really exciting applications to the end consumer, because it's all about the end consumer.
So that's Alcatel-Lucent's vision, to create an environment in which apps developers and the service providers, the networks, have an interest in working together. The centerpiece is what you might call a new platform. It only exists in cyberspace, so we can only show what it looks like on a screen. But basically, it's a place where developers can build, test, and bring to market their applications for the first time in cooperation with the networks.
Well, we've added a lot of functionality to our dashboard. We've also added a lot of new API types to our sandbox to allow users to test against a variety of Alcatel-Lucent and third-party APIs. And we've introduced the concept of application API bundles to allow people to use network and third-party APIs in a way that that doesn't require out-of-pocket expenses.
So now let's see how these ideas are going down among the folks who really count here at South by Southwest, the developers themselves.
Developing an application is not rocket science. The biggest problem is the distribution. It's like, I can do something great, but how do I get it out there? And then you go and you put it in various stores, or you try to work on deck with someone, and they take such a large share. But because of the negotiating power of Alcatel-Lucent, they're able to get it out there through all their partner networks in a way that is really beneficial to the developers.
The consumers are going to love it. They want this stuff. They're looking forward to it. It's phenomenal, and it's changing their lives in so many ways. But I think at the end it's going to be up to the companies to really push it out there and not limit the innovation that's going on.
It's very cool. I don't know why it hasn't existed yet. It's something Apple should have created day one as part of their SDKs to really make it so that developers got a lot more feedback and could really kind of fine-tune their apps, especially the ones that are more, there's more of a subtlety of what they're trying to accomplish, like a social games or social media apps. So I think it's a great tool set. You guys, definitely hit it out of the park with the design of it.
I think in the mobile industry particularly, it's very fragmented. So I know that, for example, when you develop a game, 70% of your development budget is spent on compatibility of different operating systems. So this is really painful.
How do I know where the traction is? How do I know what I'm spending is effective? How do I know what store's better, or what platform's better than the other, right? Maybe my app's better on one platform than the other. So it's kind of getting feedback from users and all that stuff. I think being able to bring that all into one dashboard, which the Sandbox in Disguise does, I think is a super powerful tool.
Well, if in 1 or 2 years' time, we can be here where the development community is coming to us asking what the network operators can do and really consider the network operators part of the equation, I define that as success.
In the crowded, constantly evolving world of digital creation, Alcatel-Lucent has found a new space for growth, bringing together developers and service providers so they can both do what they do best together.